Well, hello everybody, and gosh, where did the time go? We are on the last video series for today from the whole series of videos that we called our launch party for my new book, Overcoming Estrogen Dominance. I'm sure you've heard all about it, and so we're kind of wrapping up the day today with talking about something other than food. For the first 7 days, I've been talking so much about food and how to support your liver, and explaining estrogen dominance. And so I thought today would be a really good time to switch gears a little bit and talk about how to detoxify your home. What else can you do beyond just food practices? And so this morning I showed you how to make a really nice simple recipe of a house cleaner that you can just use pretty much this like an all-purpose cleaner. And then this afternoon we had Laura Adler as a guest speaker. I highly recommend to watch that interview because it's powerful. And if you have missed any of our videos, we have been posting all of them to Overcoming on this website. The URL is down at the bottom, overcomingestrogendominance.com/events. So you make sure you don't miss anything. For those of you who are getting the book this way, we've got something special for you. It's a gift card that you will get with every purchase of the book. So go and get your book, come back to overcomingestrogendominance.com, and then enter your receipt number and you shall get the code on how to redeem it. Lastly, we are also doing our final giveaway for today, and I decided it's going to be something different than the book. And so we're going to be giving away our sample kits for our skincare line called Wellena. Both our supplements as well as skincare is called Wellena. And really nice, clean skincare line. And so those are three products that are some of our favorites. Nice. The first one is the cleanser, and the second one is an eye moisturizer, and a very popular vitamin C serum. I think it's been our number one selling product on the site. So the way we are doing the giveaway is based on answering a question that I'm going to post to you based on the reading that I'm doing. So if you get that right, then we'll be sending you a copy, or one of you is going to get a copy of our sample kit. Okay, so I'm going to be reading from chapter 8, which talks about moving beyond food practices. So we're going to be talking about cleaning out your cabinets, your kitchen, but also doing other things like breathing exercises and dry brushing and saunas and things like that. So I'm just gonna skim through this chapter here, and then I'm gonna take some questions. Letty, she wants a sample. Sure, Letty, you have to get the answer right. So I will come to the question in just a second. All right, let's get going. Over the last several chapters, I've talked a lot about food, herbs, and supplements. They are the core of reversing your estrogen dominance. But eating right isn't the only tool in your hormone balancing toolbox. Reducing your exposure to excess estrogen, saturating your environment, and making sure you get enough deep restorative sleep are essential. Several other healing practices, such as castor oil packs, time in an infrared sauna, or lymphatic movements such as dry brushing or rebounding, can amp up your liver detoxification, improve your digestive health, and reduce inflammation, among many other benefits. Making space in your life for these will accelerate your healing and slow your aging, by the way. The research, my own personal experience and the experience of so many other women I hear from tell me so. These practices are real game changers. I know you don't have the time for anything less. So the first thing we talk about, this part of the chapter talks about cleaning out these xenoestrogens from your daily life. And I'm gonna just quickly run through the list because we covered a lot of them with Laura Adler this afternoon in a lot greater detail. So I'm just gonna read out the list. You are looking at the labels. If you start looking at the labels more closely, watch out for some of these frequent offenders. So this refers to predominantly your skincare products, your cleaning products in the house, your cosmetics. One of them will be BPAs, parabens, phthalates, triclosan, aluminum. So aluminum is a lightweight metal found in antiperspirants. So if you're using an antiperspirant, please don't do that. Use a deodorant if you have to. But if those ones that actually block your sweat from coming out is a double whammy, because they may contain aluminum and they also block the sweat from coming out, which shouldn't be the case. Sodium lauryl, also, or laureth sulfate, fluoride, which is another interesting one, antibacterial agent that's added to water, toothpaste, mouthwashes, and floss. By the way, fluoride back in the 1950s used to be given to hyperthyroidism patients to slow down the thyroid. So chlorine, formaldehyde, a bonding agent used in nail polishes and removers, toothpaste, cosmetics, air fresheners, paint, glues, synthetic fabrics, etc. Synthetic colors and dyes added to many products. They look good, but these are found to be almost in all processed foods. PFCs, these chemicals resist heat, oil, stain, grease, and water, therefore are used in non-stick cookware, carpet cleaners, stain-resistant coating, etc. So we talked about cookware with Lara as well on that call. So I'm gonna skip through that. We have there's another section here in the book on a kitchen detox and what's in, what's out. We covered most of that with her as well, so I'm gonna skip through this. Water filtration is a little bit more complicated topic. We also covered that with her, so I'm gonna let you read that up. Or listen to that call. So I'm just gonna read this part here that I think is gonna be really helpful for you guys. Daily items detox. Go back to basics for your cleaning products. With a little ingenuity and some elbow grease, we can make and keep our home perfectly clean using safe, affordable, effective, and easy to make DIY cleaners. Using non-toxic cleaners can give you deep satisfaction in knowing you are keeping your body toxins free and your family safe in the best way possible. There is a satisfaction in knowing you're cleaning a home that's truly a safe haven. The three fundamental ingredients in home cleaning are white distilled vinegar, ethanol containing either 96% alcohol or isopropyl alcohol, which is 70% alcohol, and baking soda. See the all-purpose cleaner recipe on page 358. And I showed you this morning how to make that recipe. Go back to basics for your personal care products. These natural products have many nourishing health and beauty benefits. They can be used to make an array of personal care products, from moisturizers and body washes to makeup removers, face masks, foot scrubs, lip glosses, as well as head detanglers. Castor oil, an inexpensive, shelf-stable, deeply penetrating, and highly therapeutic oil. Coconut oil, an antibacterial moisturizing for skin and hair. Almond oil, rich in vitamin D and E. Jojoba, a light and versatile moisturizer that absorbs easily into the skin. Contains nutrients such as vitamin E and B. Sesame oil, beneficial for the skin, antioxidant, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, commonly used in Ayurveda as a highly therapeutic oil. Lanolin, a lightweight emollient, extremely effective at soothing dry, irritated skin. In fact, lanolin is actually my absolute personal favorite form of oil in terms of, like, if I'm having dry lips, for example, because maybe I was dehydrated, I didn't drink enough water. I live in a high elevation up here in the Rocky Mountains. And so sometimes there are days I just forget to drink enough water, and then I get dry lips. And lanolin, I feel like, is just the best thing ever. Rosehip oil, loaded with skin-nourishing vitamins and essential fatty acid. It hydrates, moisturizes, brightens, reduces inflammation, as well as protects against sun damage. Shea butter, another favorite of mine, a nourishing, moisturizing oil that doesn't clog pores and help reduce inflammation. Honey, even though it's not an oil, but it's just a substance. Raw unpasteurized honey helps clear acne by balancing the bacteria on the skin, exfoliates, promotes healing, and reduces inflammation. Who here has ever, like, just put your hand, or you don't do that, put your spoon in some honey and then do a mask with just honey alone and nothing else? I think this is just really one of my absolute favorite things to do. And I often do that when I get in a sauna. In fact, when I spend time in a sauna, I'm going to talk about saunas in just a second. It's like one of my favorite things to do is to multitask, because then I feel like I'm using my time really well. And I will typically either do and sit down and read something. I don't take my phone with me inside because I don't want to be sitting in front of a computer screen or a phone screen. So, and then I'll do a mask on my face of sorts. Honey oftentimes is the one. And then do either journaling or reading something, and or doing some breathing exercises or meditation. And I feel like that way I'm just using the time really effectively. So there's a whole section here on sleep, and I think for the sake of time, I'm gonna pass up on this section, and instead, I think, Brittany, let's post up a link to the sleep article. That this is an article, you guys, that I've been working on this article for the past 3 years, meaning that I've been updating it on a regular basis as I learn new things. It's pretty amazing how much stuff that it just keeps coming up, but. One of the things that, I just remembered about 2 years ago, I went to see, I met this, I went to get a sonogram done, and the technician who was doing the sonogram, she was not very well functioning that morning. And then she spilled her coffee, right? And so she was in real distress about it because the coffee was going to wake her up and get her going. And I was her first client, and for that sonogram. And I said to her, are you okay? Like you just seem a little distraught. And she says, I just haven't slept. And it turns out she hasn't been sleeping in the past several years. And what was interesting about the conversation is that she said to me, she says, I've done it all. And she's been given these really sophisticated diagnoses, actually, multiple diagnoses on what is wrong with her. And she says, I've tried absolutely everything. So I said to her, have you tried magnesium? And she said, no. I said, oh, that's interesting. What about, have you tried progesterone? And she was like, definitely in her late 40s, beginning of early 50s. And she's like, no. I said, what about, have you ever considered wearing, do you like reading from your iPad or an ebook late at night? And she's like, yeah, we always watch movies on the iPad with my husband. And I said, do you wear blue light blocking glasses? She said, no. And I said, well, why didn't your doctor talk to you about any of those? Because those are 3 really basic things you can do tomorrow to fix your sleep. And it turns out her doctors have made it so complicated. And no one has been addressing some of the most amazingly simple things that can impair your sleep in a very big way. So and that's what you will find in that article that Brittany has just posted. And there's just so many things you can do. Now, what's the importance of sleep? I don't need to sell this to you and convince you that you feel very different when you have a good night's sleep, right? But also, something that we don't realize is that detoxification happens during sleep. A lot of our brain rejuvenation happens during sleep. So there you go. Sleep regeneration and healing, energy is restored, key hormones are produced, including your growth hormone. All right. So you know how teenagers will sleep forever, right? And you can't get them out of bed. And that is because they are producing so much of growth hormone, and the body wants to grow, and they need the sleep in order to grow. And so they just can't get out of bed. But for us as adults, growth hormone is it's kind of a youth fountain in a way. That's what gives us really beautiful, really great brain and nice skin and all of those, that's really your youthfulness hormone. And that is specifically and gets produced during your deep sleep, which is really interesting, something that sleeping pills will not put you in deep sleep. Melatonin will not put you in deep sleep. And, I've got the black ring that you see me wearing on my index finger, left hand, that's an Oura ring. And the Oura ring shows me how much deep sleep I'm getting at night. And it's really fascinating to see what makes it go up and down. And I am going to write an article about that on my experiments. What else happens? Liver detoxification happens during sleep. Nervous system rest, mitochondria recovering, brain produces more gray matter, etc. So many benefits. Look at the article. If sleep is your struggle, you will never be able to rebalance your hormones properly without fixing your sleep. Okay, and there's some really simple things in there, like Gladys saying, yes, magnesium helps me. Assuming it helps you sleep, and that is something that for those of you who, if you crave chocolate, let me tell you, most likely you have a magnesium deficiency, and fixing that is probably going to help you a lot with your sleep. All right, let's talk about the other part of this chapter talks about detoxifying with castor oil. So we had an amazing talk with Dr. Marisol Tejero, and that was on, let me just take a quick look what day it was so you can quickly go and find it. We did that on day 5. Okay, so look for day 5 content on the page overcomingestrogendominance.com/events, and we posted the video there already. So she's got a lot more content there. So I'm going to jump into restore with an infrared sauna, because this is a really interesting one. And don't despair if you don't have the funds, the budget to buy an infrared sauna, or you don't have the space for an infrared sauna. If you live in a New York apartment, it might be a real challenge to do that. So don't despair. I'm going to tell you in a second where you can either find a place or you can get a portable sauna. So if your only experience, has been with a sweat session in a traditional sauna or a gym, I have got news for you. Infrared sauna provide a host of benefits which can ease the symptoms of estrogen dominance. Unlike a traditional sauna that heats the air around you, an infrared sauna uses infrared lamp to warm your body. Because of this, they can operate at lower temperature, 140 to 150 Fahrenheit, than traditional ones, which is like 160 to 180. You do not need to sweat buckets to feel detoxified. The spectrum of an infrared sauna matters. The near one improves wound healing, cell health, and oxidation of tissue. Mid-infrared improves circulation, weight loss, and pain relief. Far infrared supports detoxification and blood pressure balance. Here are some reasons to consider infrared sauna. It reduces inflammation, supports detoxification through sweating, strengthens the immune system through raised body temperature. One thing is, just on this point here, the reason why your body why you get fever, for example, right, is because it is our native way of mitigate or actually killing microbes, right? And so it's in a way like getting, the reason why we have, so when you have fever, taking actually something like Tylenol or Advil to lower the inflammation, to lower the temperature, is actually going to prolong your disease. Of course, this doesn't apply for somebody who's got a, who's got a fever that is life-threatening, right? But so a sauna is like a temporary. Basically, you are elevating your body temperature, and it's actually can be really great for the immune system because a lot of the microbes will die off. Improves wound healing, activates cell regeneration, promotes weight loss, increases blood flow, improves athletic performance, reduces pain, fights cognitive decline, lowers blood pressure. I wonder how many of you here have been using infrared saunas on a regular basis. I use an infrared sauna at home and I absolutely love it. I typically go in for 30 to 45 minutes, 2 or 3 times per week, and I set the temperature between 140 to 150 Fahrenheit. I consider it me time to read a book, meditate, or write in my journal. Relaxing in an infrared sauna is a healthy way of multitasking or taking care of yourself. So we have I have written an article about infrared sauna. So Whitney, if we can post that one, that will be awesome. And Jennifer saying, I love mine. Jennifer, tell us, how do you feel when you use the sauna? One of the things I've noticed, I typically use my sauna in the evenings, and I feel like I do sleep better with after doing a session. Now, a couple of options. Jennifer saying, I do it once a day. That's awesome. How does it make you feel? So a couple of practical things about infrared sauna. The brand that I really like is Sunlighten. It's mentioned in the article and why we decided to go with them. And they do have some special things for us there. You'll find that in the article. But what I was going to say is that one of the things they just launched recently is a portable infrared sauna. And so it's one that you basically fold up and you put it in the corner of your room, and so you don't have to have a whole big box, right? If you don't have a bigger house. They also have outdoor saunas if you don't have indoor space. And the other option is, if you're really strapped for cash, is that in our article we actually have a link there I've asked Sunlighten to create a database of all the different like yoga studios and detox centers and chiropractic offices that use Sunlighten sauna, and they do charge. And so those centers are open to walk in. So you basically walk in, pay a fee, and then get to use it. So, not the most convenient way to do this, but at least it's better this than nothing, right? So the other one I want to read about is moving your lymphatic system. And so if you haven't watched my interview with Gay Walden, I do highly recommend that. She is an amazing breast health expert, and we started talking about the lymphatic system from the perspective of breast. And so there are so many lymph nodes. You probably know that, like here, right? Your whole neck here. Those are all. There's a big lymph nodes there, and massaging your breast. And she showed in the video how to activate your lymphatic system around the breast. But it doesn't have to just be breast. I mean, you can activate your lymphatic massage across your whole body. So this is what the section is about. Your lymphatic system is a highway of lymphatic channels and lymph nodes that help remove toxins along with waste from the body. Lymph nodes, small bean-shaped structures, filter substances that travel through the system. They are located throughout your body, including your neck, armpits, and groin. We want to encourage toxins to move through the lymph nodes. Both dry brushing and rebounding promote good circulation and detoxification. Dry brushing. Brushing your full body with a bristled tool encourages lymphatic massage and circulation. Dry brushing is easy. All you need is 2 brushes, one stiff one and one softer one for more sensitive areas like your abdomen or inner thighs. Choose a stiff brush with a handle so you can reach your back. It's easiest when you are completely nude. I suggest that you do it in the shower, or you can wash it off any dead skin cell that's lifted off your skin. Your skin will be soft and subtle when you are done. Begin at your feet and move up your body, always stroking and brushing towards your heart and repeating a stroke 5 times. Switch to your softer brush for more sensitive areas. It's important to do it especially through thorough job under your armpits and stimulate your lymphatic nodes located there. Remember to always brush towards your heart. And I think we have a video on that. I'm not gonna read the URL, you guys, because that's like for people who buy the books. I just want to be fair on that. But it's basically, if you Google how to do dry brushing massage, you find a lot of videos. But it's basically taking a brush and doing this, especially these areas here, and then brushing up towards your heart. Like I personally find that brushing this area here is really, really powerful, and I feel like it's very rejuvenating, very detoxifying. Like I just feel like everything is just moving in my body. The thing is just really awesome. There's another way of moving your lymphatic system, that's rebounding. Who here likes to rebound? And how often do you do it? Rebounding on a trampoline is another great way to move and drain your lymphatic system. I particularly like it because you can do it in just 10 to 15 minutes in your own home. It does not strain your joints like running, and it can be pretty challenging cardio workout if you want it to be. The sheer power of gravity, as well as the force with which you land, opens the lymphatic system, promoting lymphatic drainage and detoxification. Okay. So that's about lymphatic. And then I also want to do one more, which is the 4-7-8 breathing technique. And if you guys are down, then we can just practice that for a couple of minutes. The 4-7-8 breathing technique. This easy but powerful technique stimulates the vagus nerve, so VAGUS nerve, along the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting relaxation, lowering cortisol levels, and reducing inflammation. The technique is simple. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold the breath for 7 seconds, and exhale to 8 seconds. It takes only a few minutes a day to become an expert. You can see a demo on our website. In my past life advertising, I had a deeply insecure manager who would intimidate and bully people in meetings. As a newcomer, I couldn't do or say much at that point. But in order to manage my own sanity and emotional health in these toxic circumstances, I would go to the bathroom and use the 4-7-8 technique. It never ceased to amaze me how calm I felt each time I emerged from the bathroom. If you experience chronic stress in your life, I highly suggest to add the simple practice to your life. Stress contributes negatively to estrogen dominance. Okay. So we have one more. I need to be more consistent with rebounding. Awesome. Okay, and so I'm gonna do the quiz question, and then we can move on to. I want to read the last part, which I think is actually really important. Oxytocin, art of self-love. So I'm gonna ask you, what is the name of the nerve in the body that stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system? Parasympathetic nervous system is like the part of your nervous system that keeps you calm and you can sleep well and your hormones get produced and you're loving and open. What's the name of that nerve? Okay, oxytocin and the art of self-love. Oxytocin is the hormone of love, bonding, and connection. It's at its all-time high during childbirth and breastfeeding, creating that incredible connection between mom and baby. But it is also released during sex, orgasm, as well as when we cuddle or hug. Even when you don't have a partner, hugging your pet can release oxytocin. Bottom line, whatever you do, something that is highly pleasurable, you release oxytocin. It is a fascinating hormone. It offsets the inflammation caused by excess cortisol, like during stress, which is why doing something that gives you pleasure, even during stressful times, can help keep the equilibrium. Oxytocin releases also speeds up the satiety process, making you feel full and not overeat, especially for those of you who are stress eaters. It also improves insulin sensitivity, helping you balance your blood sugar levels. That's the science. My question for you is, what can you do daily and weekly to ensure regular oxytocin release? Schedule a massage, spend time in nature, cuddle with your partner or pet, call your favorite person for a heart-to-heart talk. It can be easy and inexpensive. All of them are an expression of self-love, which is essential in your healing journey. One thing I've learned over the years of this work is that your diet, herbs, and supplements are fundamental in your healing journey. However, if you struggle with giving yourself permission to feel good, to eat well, you regularly sabotage your health, and you feel a lack of self-worth, then I urge you to go deeper into discovering the root causes. This is outside of scope of this book, but I also want to share with you that I've seen many women feeling very stuck with their health journey until they addressed past or present unresolved trauma, physical or emotional, and stress. Let all that be a sign of self-love to yourself, a gift of healing. It's only you who can give it to yourself. Okay. Yeah, we got some answers coming in. All right. Let's do some questions. I use the progesterone from your shop. Is it necessary to rotate the areas where you can apply it? So that's the idea, yes. Just because there is the belief is that, I mean, you can rotate it every few days. You can, it doesn't have to be every night. And the idea is that your receptors just become insensitive to progesterone. And so, but there's a lot of areas that that you can consider, right? It's obviously here. Anyway, there's a thin skin. You can also do it like around your neck here or around your collarbones. That's a thin skin too, because you don't have any fat there. You can do that on your feet, on top of your feet. You can also do it at the bottom of your feet. That's also a great place to do that. So that way it's not so difficult to do. Yeah. Level of information in your book, I can't put it down. I think I'll have to read it more than once and get some to give to some of my friends. Paola is saying, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And, one of the things I will say, thank you for your kind words. And one of the things I would say here is, if there is a woman in your life who you really care about and who you love, whether it's a sister by birth or otherwise, and or a really close friend or a good colleague or a neighbor or whoever you feel like is struggling with all the things we're talking about here with estrogen dominance, sometimes telling a person what to do doesn't work. And I shared about my own sister, and I'm sure all of you have had that experience where you've had a great result with something and you tell the person you love most about what to do, and they completely stonewall you, right? So, and I found one of the most effective ways of helping a person, especially if they are not super open to things yet, is to just give them a third party, a resource, and a book can be a really helpful source. So, if that's something that you think can help another woman, then think about getting an extra copy for somebody else. If infrared sauna recommended for people with hypertension, yes, but up to a point where if the person starts getting heart palpitations, then no. And the difference actually is also, like with traditional saunas, you are not supposed to go there for a long time, or sometimes it's not even recommended at all because the heat is so much higher, and so even your heartbeat starts going up really quite a lot. With one of the cool things about infrared, for those of you especially who don't like to have too much of heat in your life, is to address basically, that's what I like about it, is that the temperature is lower. So that way people with hypertension can use it as well. In fact, I think one of the settings on sunlight in the panel is actually for cardiovascular health too. So I use the sauna in my home every other day. My hair analysis last year came back with no heavy metals. I have infrared sunlight and far infrared sauna. That's awesome, Sarah. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I did a presentation with Connie, who's the founder of Sunlight, and it's on our Facebook page. This was like probably 3 weeks ago. And she said, she was actually showing in that presentation, is open to you guys if you care to see. She showed results of someone who had heavy metals before and after. It was really interesting. And all she did differently was just the sauna. So it really can be a powerful detoxification mechanism. I'm so glad I got your book. What a blessing. Thank you, Judy. And if you guys feel compelled to review us on Amazon, I really appreciate that. We just got the first review in. I was like, yay! And it's a big, I will say it's a big thing to put yourself out there and to total strangers and kind of see what happens. And so, but I have trust that you will like the book. Or it will help you. Gabriella is saying, do you think that regular saunas are even worth it? I used to go to the one in YMCA, but somehow I felt that my legs were getting swollen. Yeah, that's an interesting observation. I mean, I do believe that there are benefits to them just because of sweating. So a lot of the research on saunas are actually based on sweating alone and not even looking at an infrared component. Plus, I also think about it always like, when you have in Russia, they call it banyas. I used to go to banyas with my friend Lara Adler, who was earlier here today. She and I used to literally take an hour drive to in a taxi in the midst of nowhere in Brooklyn, in Russian neighborhoods. When you have all the mafia bosses of the Russian mafia in the hot tubs and do it there. And so, saunas have such a big tradition in Russia. Banyas you've got in Turkey. You've got them in Iran, you've got them in Finland, of course, right? That's where the dry saunas come. Some people like it with, some cultures use it with the steam and others don't. So, I do believe, and the Finns are one of the longest living people, right? And they also roll in snow too. So, I think there's benefits to that. But again, if you're getting swollen feet, I mean, one thing to consider is also, if that's the only access you have to a sauna, is to, if you can, is to put your feet up and reverse the blood flow and see whether that helps. Margarita is saying that Russian baths in New York are awesome. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember the name of, I think it was called the Mermaid or something. And it was pretty much the experience, because you were going from a hot one to an ice bath and then back in again. And you wear a woolen hat on top so that you don't get overheated on your head. And And then you have these old Russian men offering you to beat you with a eucalyptus leaf, like they literally had eucalyptus branches there, and they would just whack you with that. And it was pretty much the experience. Is it Marika? Am I reading it right? I purchased a blanket infrared sauna from Higher Dose in New York online. It was the best investments I made. Yeah, awesome. Especially when you're in New York. I mean, where are you gonna put, like, my sauna? I'm actually in my yoga room, transmitting this, and I have the sauna is right next to me. And it's a big piece of equipment, So do what you can. Is handheld infrared device good for anything? It's a lot cheaper to buy and use a certain part of the body for pain or skin. Some are massagers as well. So Mitch, I actually that's one product from Sunlight I will not promote. It's because if you look at the research, and this is a friend of mine who specializes in saunas, and so I defer to him, and he has found that in order to have certain medicinal value, there has to be a certain power, a certain number of volts behind the device. And the health ones just don't have that. Part of it is because they are battery powered, and then the other thing is that it's I actually, Sunlight has sent me one as a sample, and I had a friend who came here and she had a fall and she hurt her knee, and so I'm like, okay, perfect. I've got this device. I want to try it out on you, and so we tried it on her, and it just didn't do anything. So I don't really think that they are really particularly worth the money, to be perfectly honest. If you have a budget constraint or on a space constraint, then I will say get the blanket type, the one that Marika, I think, just mentioned. And Sunlight has those as well. They're really nice quality and very low EMF, almost no EMF. How do you test for heavy metals? So there is the urine test. Well, there is various tests. There's a hair test. There is a urine test that you can do. There's either provoked or unprovoked with a binding agent. You need to work with a naturopath on that. That's a pretty complex issue, because if it's testing is one, and the second thing is how do you structure binders? Which binders do you go with then? It's another question. So it's a little bit beyond the scope of this conversation here. What is the best for fibromyalgia and Parkinson's, any chronic pain, basically? So Mitch is asking. So, one of the big things is, I don't specialize in Parkinson's, so that's not my area at all. But, if one thing was fibromyalgia is an autoimmune condition. So, if it's very advanced, I would suggest to follow Dr. Terry Wall's protocol, the Wall's protocol, WAHL. S, Walls with an S, and she covers. I mean, she had MS, multiple sclerosis, and from being completely bedridden in a wheelchair, she is a highly functional individual today. So that's a protocol to address, I think, and she talks a lot about chronic pain there. Okay, so what I want to do in the past few minutes, I would love to ask you guys so by the way, the answer to the question was vagus nerve. So very well done for those of you who have answered it correctly. And vagus nerve gets activated upon exhalation. So it's not inhalation. Note one thing that vagus nerve. So note one thing is that when you're really stressed out, it's very hard for you to slow down your breathing. You can just be like almost hyperventilating when you're stressed out. And not just in a moment, but even if it's a chronic stress, right? And so one thing you realize that when you're doing the 4-7-8 breathing exercise that I showed, and we can do this together as we wrap it up, is that what you will notice is that if you're really massively stressed out, you might not even be able to do the full 8 seconds exhalation because you're so amped up. And that's okay, and that just shows your body's just saying, I'm not ready yet. But you can train yourself to come to that point. It's powerful because it's at the exhalation is when the vagus nerve gets activated. So the vagus nerve runs from the base of your skull on the brain here, all the way down to your rectum, and it's basically, and vagus in Greek means wanderer. So it's a wandering nerve that basically runs along your spine and then branches out and it connects everything with your heart, your liver, your pancreas, you know, and your the whole digestive system, right? So think of it this way. It's like some people who get, for example, scared of something, they suddenly urinate uncontrollably, or they get a diarrhea, right? They evacuate. So that's all the job of the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve can be is also a calming nerve, and so that's why it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is paramount in helping you sleep, digest properly, right? As opposed to be amped up, not be able to sleep, be on alert all the time, which also means your blood sugar levels is always high, your heart pumps a lot more, your blood pressure goes up, right? Our digestion shuts down in times of stress because the body is like, I'm here to overcome a huge adversity, and not for you to be like eating right now. You're gonna run and escape. So the vagus nerve, that's exactly the opposite. It helps your digestion, it helps you with your sleep, it calms you down, it helps you produce oxytocin, it enables you to feel really grounded, it helps you produce a progesterone, which is one of the reasons why you have estrogen dominance, because you allow on progesterone. So just a really wonderful way of activating it is through doing this breathing exercise. And maybe this exercise is super dear to me because of the reason I read to you is of having this dick of a manager back in the past. Although I think, he was the one who fired me from my job 12 years ago. And so not too bad, huh? So I'm actually really happy that it happened. But, as I worked there for 10 months in that job, it was one of the most stressful jobs I've ever been in. And so just being able to go to the bathroom and process that and walk out and still be in one piece instead of go home and cry was a really big win. So what I would love to do as our final video for this series is, if you guys are down for that, if that's not your thing, that's okay. You can just watch. But if you're down for that, then I would like to invite you to do the 4-7-8 breathing exercise with me. And so sit down comfortably. It's always funny when you say sit down comfortably and everybody always moves around in their chair. It's like, why were you not sitting comfortable in the first place? And that includes me. So just to repeat, we're going to be breathing in. We're going to close our eyes in a second. You're going to be breathing in to the count of 4, okay? And try to inhale more into your abdomen rather than your lungs, okay? And then we're going to be holding on our breath for the count of 7. And I'm going to count it together with you. And then we're going to be slowly exhaling to the count of 8. Okay. And again, I'm going to provide the count. And if you find yourself not being able to exhale to the count of 8, don't force it. Don't make it like, oh my God. Don't do that, because you're actually stressing yourself even more. It just tells you that you are not really ready to be relaxed. And it might take you a few days to really unwind. Use this exercise on a regular basis. You just need to do a cycle of 6 times to do this to get really the benefit of this exercise. And that's that. So why don't we start? So close your eyes if you can. Remember, we're breathing in through the nose and then holding to a count of 7, breathing out through our mouth. So let's begin. Breathe in through your nose. 4, hold, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to the count of 8. 4, 7, 8. Okay. Again, breathe in through your nose, deep into your abdomen. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out through your mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale everything from your tummy. Inhale through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do your own counting now. And one more last round. Okay. For those of you who did it together with us, how do you feel? All right. Dr. Isa and Magdalena, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and resources to empower each one of us to be the healthiest we can be. Special thank you also for your amazing stuff. Let the healing begin. Thank you so much. I do have a wonderful team. None of that would have been possible if they were not here. So many of you are saying that how relaxed you feel, and so love it. It's so relaxing. Yeah, it's so simple, right? All you need is just a round of six times of these. I learned this method many years ago from Dr. Andrew Weil, and Weil. I'm sure you know of him, functional doc, and he was referencing, I remember, some cardiovascular studies that he got his patients on this breathing exercise only, and how their cholesterol improved. Boom. So thank you so much for coming on this journey with us for the past 8 days. I hope you have found this helpful and inspired. You inspired. It's something that you can take away from today and all the previous 8 days and bring into your life. And really my biggest wish for you is to not to be perfect, but to implement what you can. Love yourself more, surround yourself with really nice healing foods, and let the healing begin. Thank you so much, everybody, again. And I'm going to be definitely around, even though the lunch party is over. If you follow us on social media, if you're on our mailing list, you will certainly hear more from us. Thanks so much, and good night.